Hey Clashers, and welcome back to another video. And today is sneak peek number 5, because Supercell actually announced all of the changes going to happen in the next update. On this list there were a couple of things which we have not mentioned just yet in any of the other sneak peeks. So this is something which we're going to take a look at in today's video. But before we're starting with that, always remember the update now can happen any day. And remember to use the creator code when you're buying any of the offers which are going to be in the shop. So if you're thinking about buying that and would like to support my channel and what I'm doing here, make sure to use code ITSU. Really appreciate that. And well, now let's get started. And the first change is insane. It's a huge change. And as a couple of you guys might know, there's a lot of open walls in the current meta. And if you're asking, it's why exactly is that the case? Well, let me explain that to you quickly. So first off, those openings have two reasons. The first main reason is that the queen is working that so far that she just can't see those openings, and most of the time she's running around even though this compartment is open. So that was kind of like a strange thing which people kind of like slowly caught up to, and now this is going to be changed. This won't be anymore, which means those openings now can be seen by the queen and easily now get inside the base. And well, that's huge game changer. The next reason why those open walls were there was wall breaker, like how they work, because wall breakers most of the time, if they can, target closed compartments where there's a building inside, which was not the case with those open walls. So I think this might change in the future. Like I said, it's going to be changed that the queen is now more clever in choosing their next position to attack the next building, which means she's not ignoring those open walls anymore. So a huge game changer for all of the base builders out there. But now let's take a look at a couple of more things which are going to change. Not only the queen is going to be smarter, but as well the warden. So it's less likely that the warden is going to hit a wall at the end of an attack when there's like maybe only a couple of troops left. So that's already a good change, in my opinion at least, because that was kind of annoying. But let's see how that works at the end of the day, because I feel like we had already a lot of improvements for the warden. So let's see if that's actually the case. Well, actually there are more changes which I'm going to mention. But just so you guys not stare at like a maxed out 40 non-stop, I'm going to show you guys a couple of attacks in the background with a few of my favorite attack strategies which are going to come in the next update. First attack is going to be the super minion cloned invisible blimp, which sounds kind of strange, but to be honest, it's incredibly strong. You can follow this up with dragons, with laser dragons, with inferno dragons, things like that. I feel like it's super strong. You can be really versatile with this, and it's just crazy, especially because you can use the most powerful hero pet combination in this attack strategy, which is not always the case. So yeah, let's just take a look and you can see if you want to copy strategies like this. Then there's going to be a super wizard, like a lizard Lalo attack. That's the second one. And the last one is going to be a P.E.K.K.A. smash attack. All of those attack strategies are going to be quite strong. And I'm going to show off how the most powerful pet combinations are with those strategies. But now let's get back to the changes, because there are a couple of more changes actually. Next one is going to be in the base editor. So there's actually a couple of glitch fixes for like messing up that buildings are on top of other buildings and things like that. Hopefully that works. But the biggest change in my opinion is going to be that you now will be able in the base editor to change buildings of the same size without triggering the cooldown. Important side note is that you can't do this on your active war base. So for example, if your base is active and you're doing it in the editor on the active base, you will get a cooldown. On any other base, that's not the case. So far, this was only possible in the active home village, but now Supercell has changed that just to make sure that those base builders do not always have to activate those bases. And well, now you can do this in the base editor, which I feel like is a huge improvement, especially for all of the base builders out there. So I feel like that's really appreciated. The next thing, which is going to be spring traps. Like spring traps, so far, sometimes were like spring trapping away some of the troops which were already dead. So they were triggered by basically dead troops at this point, which won't happen anymore. So spring traps are getting a small buff in that regard, which I feel like is a good touch. Next one is going to be the scatter invisible bug, which means there was a bug in the game where the scatter sometimes shot your super wizards when you were doing super wizard blim. Things like that were sometimes happening. Not often, but sometimes they did. And now they're fixing that, because this means as soon as you're deploying the invisibility spell, it's like making the troops invisible right away without any delay. And this is huge. This is really important. And this is going to fix this bug, which is kind of nice. The next one is going to be a couple of questions for the pets, because I feel like there were a lot of questions still open with the pets. So let's try to answer the most common ones. First off, where do you upgrade the pets? The pets are getting upgraded in the pet house. That's kind of simple. And the pet house actually works similar to the laboratory, which means you can upgrade one pet at a time, kind of similar to being able to upgrade one troop research or like troop upgrade or like spell upgrade at a time. Now you can do that the same way for the pets. The only problem with this, I'm not sure if that is intentional, but there's no potion which is working with the pets. So for example, for buildings, you have the builder potions. For the laboratory, you have the lab potion, right? But for the pets, there is no potion working. But there is the hammers and the books. They are working, but you have to use the hero hammers and the hero books to upgrade pets. That's kind of important to note. So I hope they're going to change that. There's some sort of potion for the pets. I feel like that would be just fair, I guess. But either way, it's going to take a long time to upgrade them, especially because you cannot upgrade them at the same time. But at the same time, the gold pass is working for them, which means even though no potions are working, the gold pass is working for them, like the perks with the reduction of the costs. This is working. And yeah, so if you're thinking about buying the gold pass, one quick reminder once again, make sure to use a credit code. If you would like to support me, it's called Itsu. As simple as that. But now let's get back to a couple of more things. I would do like, since we already touched on most of the changes, there are a couple of more bug fixes and everything, and you can read them through nice and easily. But there's so many of them that I feel like I just filtered out the most important ones. Let me know what you think of those. But I would like to now touch on the entirety of the update. We have one more attack to go on. During that, I want to talk about my opinion on the update. Like, how do I think about the update? Just an honest opinion at this point. Because sneak peeks is always like, you need to be a little bit hyped and everything. But today, we want just to go straight up at the update and see how it's actually, like, is it actually good in that sense? For me, so far, with only being able to test it and record the sneak peeks, not playing it actually, kind of like maxing everything and so on, I have to say that the update with the pets feel great. Because I think the pets is giving a new feature in that sense to Clash of Clans, which in my opinion was needed. Like, the game needed something fresh. And I feel like those pets are doing exactly that. Yes, now you can argue about, are they too expensive? Do they take too long? And exactly this, you can have two like point of views on this topic. First one is obviously, as free-to-play player, you will be never to catch up, like this approach. But at the same time, you could say, well, that's now one of the first updates where you are not maxed, even if you're stacking a ton of magic items after the first day. Like, so for Town 13, for example, other town levels with the magic items, you were able to max out your base in one day, basically. Which can be good for competitive play, but it's not that great for most of the normal Clash players, because they need something to do, right? Like, they're not playing the game as competitive players, where they're just like, I don't know, like just building bases for hours every single day. That's not how casuals work. They're just playing the game, and the journey for them is the game, like the way to get to maxed. And I think for them, this upgrade is great. So you always have to like consider where you're at. For my point, I love to be maxed, play around with the max stuff. So yeah, it's kind of tricky for me, but at the same time, I can totally see the other side as well, where like people are saying, okay, now finally we have something to do. Finally, Supercell gave us something to upgrade, to work toward. And it's kind of tricky for me to like choose a side. That's why I think this is like a point where I would say it's good, and maybe at some point bad as well. Not really sure about that one. Now the builder huts. And I have to say, in my opinion, I love the mechanic. I love how they work, but I just feel like they are too weak. Considering how much power you got in offense with the pets, I just think they're too weak on defense. I think they should have a bigger range. I think they should have way more DPS, like damage. And I think the building is fine. Like, we do not want to create super buildings at that point where like you just put 5 builders behind and then they're getting repaired nonstop. Yes, the repairing is kind of nice. Sometimes it's annoying. That's totally fine, but that should not be the main objective, because I feel like in most of the attack strategies out there, it is just useless. If you're overpowering a base slowly with dragons, with smash, with whatever, most of the time those builder huts are not doing too much. So I feel like they should need, like, I don't mind they're just doubling the DPS of them or something like that and increasing the range a little bit. But either way, I would love to have the builder huts being stronger. Those are my main 2 points, like the pets and the huts, because they are like the key things about Town 14. I really enjoy the idea. Especially I enjoy the new feature as pets are in the game and you have something new to think about. Like going into attack, you have to think about like what is the best combination for pets and everything. I just love this. But like I said, maybe for me personally, like I said, this is my point of view, right? This is my point of view. It is not like this is the only point of view which is existing. Please don't get me wrong. And I would love to hear what you say in the comments. I would love to see what you guys think about the update. And well, let's share some thoughts about the update. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate your time. And well, thank you so much. I will see you guys back tomorrow for the next video. Until then, see you guys and bye bye.